Back in 1775 in Hollowell, Maine, there lived a midwife. And at that time, the women were not often literate. So the fact that she was literate was amazing. And she took time every day to do a journal. And that journal was found, or actually, it was passed down through her daughters. And eventually, it was given to the right people in the right places where it was preserved in a library and then turned into a book by a best selling author. And I just read it and I want to share it with you because it relates to why journaling can be so important. So today, I'm going to share with you one small shift you can make in your daily schedule that will carve out time to help you journal. Because time and time again, in the sessions I do with women, I'm a clairvoyant healer and reader. I've read people for over a decade all around the world. And very often, a theme comes up that they need to write. Because if you think about it, writing is a reflective touchstone. Writing is a creative process. Writing is a way to get out whatever's inside of us onto the page, to let our nervous system relax. There are only so many vehicles we have in life to express ourselves, and writing is a really big one. So today, I'm going to share with you this small shift I've made in my life that has made a huge difference and what's most often in the way so that you can get it out of the way, journal, and begin to really truly live a creative life and know your dreams and your heart's desires and start to accomplish those goals in small steps. So stick around. So this book right here, it's called The Frozen River. It's by Ariel Lawhon, and she's a best-selling author. And my mom is often like the book woman. She gives me all these different books. She put it into my hand. It's going through her book club. And I just spent the last week devouring it. If you know me, you know that I'm an avid reader. I read about a book a week, a book every 2 weeks, depending on how big they are. And this one was one of my favorites because the author is a good writer. I love when the author is a great writer. I love when we have a really good, strong female character. But if not for this woman that this book was based on, having her diary, we wouldn't have this book and we wouldn't know about some things that were going on in terms of midwives and the women back in the 1700s around the founding of this country. It's really, really fascinating. And it's just such a testimony to the power of the feminine voice and to literacy, right? It's like we take it for granted. We can read, we can write, but most people don't read and most people don't write. And time and again, your guides, my guides, our spiritual helpers are telling me to tell you to write it all down. So why don't we? All right, let me tell you the one shift that I just made just this past week that has helped me to really come back to my journaling practice. So in July, I got a dog. I got a puppy. We rescued her. She was already 4 months old. I thought that would maybe be a little bit easier, right? No. If you've never had a puppy, oh my goodness, it's like having a baby. It turned my life upside down. Suddenly, any small amount of time I had for myself, for self-care, now that my daughter is 9, was like out the window, and I'm having to take care of this brand new dog. So I would wake up in the mornings and the first thought would be the dog. I got to get the dog, right? Or I'd be up in the middle of the night with the dog at the start. And then first thing in the morning, what's on my mind? Get up, let the dog out. Hope she made it through the night, trying to extend her time through the night. And needless to say, I kind of lost myself. So it's going on 9 months now that we've had her. She's turning a year old this month. Things have gotten significantly easier, but it was really tough. And my meditation practice during that time really suffered. I love to meditate. I've been meditating for a really long time, but it had turned into kind of a short meditation before I would do sessions for clients. And that's kind of more like a meditation getting ready for clients and that person. So it wasn't really like a true meditative, spacious time for me. And I was really missing that practice. So I decided that I would do this one thing and see if it could make a change. I was also feeling a lot of sadness around the time change. So I was waking up early, easily in the morning with bright sunshine, and suddenly it was really dark at the time that I'm supposed to wake up. And it was just really hard for me. So I decided that instead of jumping up and running to care for the dog and then care for my daughter, as I've been doing every morning for 9 months, that I would get up a little bit earlier and give myself 10 minutes to sit and meditate. That's it. Just 10 minutes. I know like Abraham Hicks says, at least do 15. Other teachers do. This was all I had the capacity for in this time in my life. I was like, if I could just do it for 10 minutes. I also have this really handy time timer. I'll link to it below. It has changed my life in terms of helping my daughter when she needs to get to bed in 10 minutes or she's got 10 minutes until we go. It helps me when I'm doing sessions with clients just to keep me on track. And it helped me with my 10 minutes for meditation. I just set this for 10 minutes. You can turn it to beep or to be silent, whatever you prefer. You can watch your time go. I also use this as a productivity tool. So I do the Pomodoro method and I set it for 25 minutes and then I do something else for 5 or 10. And it really helps me to not just be seated all day, and it helps my brain to wake up. So I set this timer for 10 minutes. I sat down at my sacred space and I set my journal there with a pen for the morning. And I got up, I set the timer, and I just meditated for 10 minutes. And on the first morning, something magical really happened. I had also set out this book, one of my favorite old classics. I've had it for over a decade. It's marked up, it's highlighted, it's got little tags. If you want to live a creative life, if you consider yourself an artist, this is such an incredible book. I highly recommend it. Marry Your Muse. It's got inspiring poetry, inspiring quotes, and it is motivation to live our creative life. So after the 10 minutes was up of meditation, what happened was then I got out my journal and I wrote a little bit in my journal, just a little bit. And one thing that the midwife did in this book that I just love, it's so sweet, is she would put the date and she would put the weather. Now, I'm a weather watcher. I call myself like Rachel Skywatcher. That's like my Native American name, or maybe my Star Wars name. I'm always watching the skies. I'm watching the clouds. I'm paying attention to their shape and how they're moving. Is it cloudy? Is it sunny? Is something? I love blue sky. I live in Colorado. I can see so far and see beautiful snow-capped peaks. I just love the sky. So I had already been kind of writing about the weather from time to time, but just to make that the hallmark. So what we're trying to do here is kind of bookend our day, right? Like if we can start with something that's a powerful ritual and end with something that's a powerful ritual, then if in between I'm feeling busy, chaotic, whatever else, it's okay. I can let myself not get everything done. I can let myself feel tired and need a rest. I can say, I wanted to do this today, but it's not going to happen. It's a wash. And it's just helping me not feel so bad about myself. And here's the surprising thing that happened. So I sat down for 10 minutes. I did the meditation. I journaled for just a minute. And then I read this book. And after I read this book, it really inspired me to do my creative work. So something I'm always wanting to do is set a timer, even if it's just 10 minutes, to work on writing. I'm working on a couple of different books that I've been working on in various ways for a long time. And I did it. I sat down, I set 10 minutes on the timer. I ended up going over that 10 minutes and I worked on a new book. And so I was really grateful. But another thing also happened that was a little bit surprising. So when I was sitting and I was meditating, grief arose. A lot of grief. All the grief that I had been suppressing around a variety of things that have happened in the last 9 months. Getting a new dog changed my lifestyle completely. It took away some of my freedom. Yes, there's joy and there's love and there's so many wonderful things, but right now I'm talking about my grief. And getting a dog was harder than I ever imagined. And I've had to sacrifice a lot of time and energy and money. And it's been a huge investment. And my creativity has gone to the wayside and suffered. And as someone who was really trying to come back to my creative life after being a single mom for 9 years now, it was surprising to me the amount of time taken up by a being. Like I adopted a being who needs my love and attention all day long, morning, noon, and night. And so grief arose, and it comes up in readings often. I knew this concept intellectually, and obviously I've felt it in the past before, but it's been a while since I really sat down and meditated and realized that what was there is grief. And so, why don't we, right? Why don't we sit down and journal? Well, reasons we don't are A, we just tell ourselves we're too busy. B, I think we overcomplicate it. We try to be perfectionists, right? So, if you have any ADHD, anxiety, neurodivergent, it can be really hard to create these new practices. So, also, we have to sit still. And when we sit still, we're going to feel. And this is why a lot of people don't meditate. So I was surprised to feel all the grief. I fell a couple weeks ago and I really hurt my knee. And I have just been kind of tending it and moving forward. I have been taking care of myself. I went to the chiropractor, I got a massage. But there was also so much grief around that I've been in a lot of pain for 2 weeks, and I'm trying to just continue on in my life just the same, but realizing like my body is not the same right now and I'm healing. And so there was so much grief. But a beautiful thing happened is that I was able to channel that grief into my art and into my creativity. And our intuition is not just like, should I go left or right? Yes or no, right? So often it's almost like we want to use our intuition to get ahead in life. We want to use it like it's this tool or this external thing, right? But our intuition, it exists within us. Our intuition is our higher self. Our intuition is our knowing. Our intuition is our connection with the spirit world and the divine. And so when we slow down and we create one simple practice, right? Just one thing. If you could just change one thing and get up in the morning and sit down for 10 minutes, you open up the door to a little bit of spaciousness and an opportunity to be creative. And especially for women who are often caretaking a lot of other people, we don't carve out time for ourselves. The first thing to go is the self-care. And that was part of the grief that had come up, that after 9 years of feeling like I had sacrificed for my daughter a lot of time for self-care and creativity, which I would never take it away. I absolutely love her and adore her. And she's the best thing in my life and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And, my dog would be up there with one of the best things in my life as well. But there's also a letting go and a loss with every gain. And when we try to push away or ignore one, then that's when it goes into the shadow and then it needs to come out. And this is a way to release our shadow. It's a way to release those feelings that feel unseemly, that we're hiding. And journaling gives us access to our intuition. Journaling creates space and says, I'm listening. And then the spiritual realm, like when we're reaching up, the spiritual realm will reach down. If we expect support from the spiritual realm, we have to ask and we have to tune in and we have to listen. And if we're always harried and we're always busy and we're always running and we're pushing down our feelings and we're pressing and we never carve out time for ourselves, we're never going to really have that divine connection. And that divine connection is more than just tell me what to do and give me the answers and, let me know if I shouldn't go that way or I shouldn't go to that party. It's not this like tool that we just put on our tool belt and use to make life easier. That is not intuition. Intuition is developing that channel, that connection with self. It is tuning inward. It is opening up to hear the muse and having a channel for creativity. It is saying, oh, you know what I yearn for? After I sat for 10 minutes in the morning when all was quiet and I wasn't taking care of my dog or my daughter, oh, I want to write. Oh, there is this life inside of me, this impulse inside of me, this desire inside of me. And she is my intuition. She is my muse. She is this impulse that wants to carry me forward and have me create and have me leave this legacy. And she needs to be fed, just like everybody else around me needs to be fed. And there's this amazing quote in the book that I love in the Marry Your Muse. And I'll tell you, I can't find it in the book, but it goes something like this. The people around you will not starve and be cold. You have too much love for that. So just back off a little. Let them, don't try to overcare so much. I think this is something I'm working on. The father of my daughter said when I had chickens before, because I was pampering them, he's like, wow, you are just always next level pampering. He said it with my daughter. He said it with my chickens, with my dog. It's just like, I'm going to just try to do the absolute best that I can. And sometimes it's at the sacrifice of my muse. And so I'm actually learning, right? We're many of us unlearning people pleasing. I'm learning how to not have to have it be oh so perfect and oh so much and oh over the top. Like good enough is good enough. So if I carve out more time for my creative self, none of the people around me are going to freeze and die, right? It's just not going to happen. I have too much love for that. All right. So if you need some inspiration, get yourself a copy of this book if you can. I don't even know if it's still out there. I imagine it is, but Marry Your Muse. And it says making a lasting commitment to your creativity. And it's just so inspiring. So if you need some inspiration, get that book. You matter. You're worthy. Even if you're never famous or a published author or your paintings don't make it to museums, create for the practice of creating. Create because whatever is within you is worthy. And you deserve to say, this is how I see the world. This is what I've experienced. You matter. Your voice matters. Your art matters. All right. Thanks for joining with me today. And check out one of my other videos if you're interested in more inspiring content around following our intuition and following our hearts. Bye-bye.